My fiance was financially abused by his ex and wanted to make sure I'm not with him for his money, so I've been funding our lives for 3 years to prove that I am no gold digger. Now I think I'm the one being abused. Posted by you/expensive_pangolin60. Throwaway, as my fiance follows my regular account. I, 31F, met my fiance, 32M, 3 years ago. He came out of an abusive marriage just 2 years before we met. One of the main areas of abuse was financial. She bled him dry, made him buy expensive jewelry only to give it away or break it after an argument. Designer shoes, clothes, big houses, cars, Caribbean trips. You name it, she made him pay for it. She also took him to the cleaners in the divorce. However, my fiancé is very well off. He makes far over 6 figures, almost 7. On top of that, he inherited a few million from his grandfather, and his parents also gifted him and his siblings a few cool millions. So yes, the financial abuse was bad, but he does not suffer financially. He has more money than he will ever need. Last year, I moved into his house. I do not pay rent, but I split the bills and buy food. I pay for my own clothes and jewelry. I have a good job and can take care of myself. However, things have been taking a turn for the worse, and I feel miserable. His house was empty when I moved in. He had hand-me-down furniture, maybe 3 forks and 2 knives. He wouldn't turn on the heating, so the house felt cold and moldy. He has no curtains, no decorations. His ex took everything not bolted down, and he was too cheap to replace it. Just imagine $1 million house like that. I am grateful that I can live in his house. It's something I could never afford myself. But I didn't want to live in squalor. So I bought some kitchen supplies, some furniture. But at some point, I realized I was dipping into my savings all the time, and he did nothing. I looked into curtains, but those things are expensive. His house has so many windows, it's crazy. I didn't want to keep paying for this. I told him I needed a fund to furnish his house. He blew up at me, saying I was just with him for his money. I pointed out all the money I've spent on his house, the gifts and the trips, because he never pays for anything. He wants to be sure I'm not here for the money. The fact is, if we break up, I have nothing. The house is not mine. If I spend all my savings on his house, I'll be left with absolutely nothing. He wants a prenup, and I'm fine with that, but I can't help but feel used. On top of that, I'm jealous of his ex-wife. I feel like she got treated while I'm being neglected. He proposed to his ex on a cruise with a $10,000 white gold diamond ring. I got rhodium-plated Swarovski stuff that might cost like $100. The proposal was at a picnic in the park I organized, paid for, and slaved in the kitchen for. I almost said no out of pure disappointment. However, I'm afraid to bring it up and be called a gold digger. I don't want to be funding a millionaire's lifestyle. He loves everything as long as I pay for it. As soon as he has to pay, it's frivolous, unnecessary. I can live like a poor person by myself. At least then, the fact that there are literal millions lying around wouldn't hang over me and bum me out. And I'd just be paying for my own lifestyle. Would I be the jerk for calling off a wedding purely for financial reasons? Because I love this man, but I imagine our cheap wedding in contrast to his ex's extravaganza. Will our future kids be able to have some luxuries? Or only if I pay for it? What if I ever become a stay-at-home mom? Will I have to beg to turn the heating on? Edited to answer questions I see a lot. I know the abuse is not made up. His family and friends told me separate stories of the abuse they witnessed. Not only did it confirm it, it showed me she was way more terrible than I thought, like stealing heirloom jewelry from his grandma with Alzheimer's right after she was widowed. Pretending she was gifted these things even though everyone knew grandma hated her guts. I didn't realize or see that he's doing the same to me as she did to him, and that he's, subconsciously, punishing me for what was done to him. I'm not trying to force a lifestyle on him that he wasn't previously happy in. He told me, prior to me moving in, that he left his house like this because he was depressed after his wife took everything, even the curtains, that it makes him sad, and he wants a cozy home. He just didn't know where to start. His house is paid off, thanks to Granddad. He isn't actually spending much on utilities either. The house is very well insulated and has solar panels. It's weird to see how cheap being rich really is. I'm not asking for designer furniture. IKEA all the way, and I've refurbished secondhand furniture myself. I'm actually pretty thrifty. I see where my jealousy over his ex's lifestyle might have triggered some people. Let me explain. A $10,000 ring is insane and stupid to me. I don't want that because I'd fear losing it every day. I don't need an over-the-top wedding. However, it almost feels like with her, he made an effort. He wanted to give her what made her happy. Put effort and thought into it. With me, it almost feels like he wants to prove how little he can give me. He talked about how he sees the wedding, and it's cheaper than my actually financially struggling cousin's wedding. I can't help but feel like he wants to demonstrate how cheap he can treat me. And I already feel embarrassed knowing some family members would have attended both, and I'll feel like the discount wife. I don't like to say it, but it feels like he gets off on it to some extent. We're almost talking washing paper plates at this point. Yes, I did discuss selling the mansion. I really don't need it, and moving to a more modest house, especially knowing this is the house his ex picked. He doesn't want to do that. He loves this house. But I feel really intimidated living in a house I could never afford anyway. And so many large windows. Sheesh. I haven't talked to him yet, but a pause on the marriage and counseling is a must. I'm already looking for individual counseling because I realized I might indeed be too much of a people pleaser, allowing him to control me with the ghost of his ex. I'm also going to separate for a while. I'm looking to rent something for a few months so I can get some space. Thank you all for your insights. Update 4 days later. Okay, I hope this update makes sense because I am very confused and not really doing that well at the moment. Well, Reddit, you changed my life. Thank you so much for all your ideas and insights. Honestly, I don't think I would have had the courage to do what I did without you guys. I went to therapy and took the day off just to get my racing mind to calm down. Therapy has confirmed things you guys suspected. I am a people pleaser. I wanted to save him, and I have internalized the idea that any effort and every penny I want him to spend on me makes me a gold digger. I will have weekly sessions to work on myself. I realized I would have never accepted this treatment from any of my exes, even though I made more than them. The idea that I had to prove myself worthy to be with a millionaire and not be in it for the money got into my head pretty early. I called one of his siblings I am pretty close with and just told her everything. She was not surprised, but just sad about how unhappy he was making me. She told me that from the day we started, he had this idea that I was out of his league. He struggled to understand why I wanted to be with him, and he probably just thought, it must be my money. She told me she had already talked to him in the past about treating me better. She was furious about the proposal. This information confused me a little. I was a bit hurt she never discussed any of this before, but she thought it was none of her business. She also explained how she and her husband organized their finances. He also doesn't have as much as her. I took the opportunity to pack a bag. I haven't found a place yet, but I am going to stay with my parents. I've made up my mind that I will want at least 6 months apart to get myself in order. I made sure my stuff was in the car because, honestly, I had no idea how the conversation would go. So, on to the most difficult part, the talk. I waited for him to come home. He was pretty late, but I didn't want to sleep another night on this. Pretending I was fine while I was contemplating all this just ate me up. I had written down what I wanted to say. I have never been so scared before. I didn't want to hurt him, and I didn't know how he would react. I took some advice from here. I opened by saying I was moving out and that I wanted to pause our engagement. He was very quiet and just sat down. I told him he really hurt me by calling me a gold digger, and that I am done walking on eggshells and feeling guilty for just wanting basic things. I told him I was unhappy and felt neglected. I also told him that after 3 years of me showing up for him, if he still doesn't think I'm here for him, it's not going to happen. He was just quiet. He didn't say anything. I told him that the constant comparisons to his ex were unhealthy and unfair. Punishing me for her sins was abusive. I told him comparing her to me all the time had triggered me into comparing myself to her and starting to feel like she was worth more than me. One of the things about her was mostly ungratefulness. He would do nice things for her, but it was never enough. The thing is, he doesn't do nice things for me, and I have to be grateful for the pleasure of picking up the bill. I told him he was not ready for marriage. That I dreaded having kids with him and living like this. That I didn't trust he would take care of me if I became a stay-at-home mom. And at that point, I just called him abusive and a user. I was getting pretty angry saying all this out loud, losing my composure and script a little bit. He remained quiet, with almost no emotion on his face. I stayed quiet, but nothing came out, so I decided that I would just leave. Only when I got up to go did he say, "Please don't go." He asked me if I was pausing the wedding or calling it off. He wanted to know if it was over or if he still had a shot. I told him I wanted out of this house. I honestly don't want to live in his ex's palace of sadness anymore. I needed him to go to therapy, and especially financial therapy. I needed a separation. I told him I was open to couples counseling if he went into individual counseling. He begged me not to do the separation, but honestly, I really wanted it. I just told him to think about it, and I left him. He was finally showing some emotions. He was crying at this point. He sent me a very long text somewhere in the AM. He told me he was a wreck and couldn't sleep. He made all kinds of promises. He said he would go into therapy, sell his house, buy a smaller one, and make sure I am taken care of no matter what happens. He said he would help me decorate and we would make a home. He again asked me to please come home. But to me, it doesn't feel like home there anymore. I feel very empty and tired. I have been sleeping most of the day. I feel guilty, but also a little bit relieved, if that makes sense. I don't know if I actually want to go back if he does all that. I don't know. I am a little unsteady right now. I need some time to process. I will go back for the kitchen supplies and my TV. I won't take any of the other furniture. This is for the exact same reason I was unwilling to buy everything. His house is huge, so the couch is huge. I can't take it. Second update 1 month later. Hi everybody. Let me just say I am overwhelmed by the number of people really caring about me and asking for updates. Strangers who care about you is a feeling like no other, thank you. So, as I said, I left. I'm looking for an apartment I can afford. My parents are helping out. I am living with them and saving up. I am not closing all doors, but as of now, we are broken up. I have no contact. The first week, he transferred a large amount to my account. It really rubbed me the wrong way. It just showed me that he still thought money was what kept me here. I deducted the cost of the couch I left and transferred everything else back. I asked for no contact after this. He has been respectful of it, and I feel free at the moment. I felt guilty for my needs, for wanting to be taken out every once in a while. The longer I am out, the more I realize it was abuse. I have an autoimmunity problem, and the cold house caused it to flare up. Even after that, he kept turning the heat down. He'd rather have me miserable than pay, $100 extra at the end of the year. The last thing I heard is that he put the Palace of Sadness on the market. I have seen the ads, so happy he is going through with that. I heard from his sister that he is in therapy. I'm happy for that, and I hope he keeps that up. He is keeping his promises so far, but I need to see real change, and even then, I really don't know. I am building my own life by myself. Thinking about getting a puppy. If I give him another shot, it has to start all from scratch. I want to start dating again and take it slow. Therapy is really a good idea. I now know I was just bringing this on myself as a people pleaser. A savior. Wanting this man to be happy so badly I forgot about myself. Never again. So that is all there is to say, really. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Best of luck. Please never forget your worth again, because others will shortchange you if you do. Ops response. True. I allowed this from day one and let him play out his fantasy revenge on me. The red flags were there so early. Loving ourselves is the key to a happy life. Commenter 2. My question is, did you previously communicate your feelings before just ending it? Did you wait until you stopped loving him? Ops response. I did. Multiple times. I had a few breakdowns where I told him I was unhappy, especially when my autoimmune disease kicked into high gear. I told him I was done being cold. Then the discussion started about what cold meant, and I had to negotiate a temperature setting he was okay with. He would still turn it down behind my back. The curtains were just the last straw for me. He was giddy and happy about all the other changes I made to his home with my money. I thought it wouldn't be so weird to ask him to pitch in, right? I had done so much, sacrificed so much, and he still blew up at me? What kind of gold digger pays for everything for 3 years? If I was one, I was really bad at it. So yes, I communicated, over and over, and nothing changed. I'm pretty shocked he is actually doing something right now, but honestly, I think it's a little too late. I don't want to shut the door completely, but I will never, ever be cold in my life again. Third update 3 months later. Thank you to everyone who reached out to me. I found a little apartment for myself, and I got a puppy. After being in a home where I was truly loved, by my parents, I realized how sad, cold, and alone I had been. Over time, I went blind to a lot of things. Blind to a comfortable home temperature. Comfortable with thinking about every penny spent. Feeling guilty for buying that dress I'd wanted for so long, that was finally on sale. Feeling entitled for wanting date nights. For being treated sometimes. I started to think about what makes me happy. I love to travel, dress up to go to a nice restaurant, throw dinner parties, entertain people, think about Christmas gifts 6 months in advance, have a cozy house. And I realized just how much he had taken from me with that one little sentence. Is that really necessary? Is anything ever? If you have a roof, food, a bed, and a TV, you're there, right? Is travel necessary? Is having nice clothes necessary? Is a shower necessary? A haircut? A party? A hobby? A wedding? No. I know now that abusers are not, by definition, bad people. He is broken, and he has trauma I have no time or energy for. He got free from abuse and decided to become the abuser. I know he is in therapy, and we initially agreed on 6 months of no to low contact. But I felt certain it was not for me anymore, and I didn't want to keep him dangling. Breaking up with him was very hard. It made me very sad. I never wanted to hurt him, and I loved this man very deeply. I wanted us to be each other's happily ever after. We both came from dark places, and I wanted us to thrive together. His family told me I was the one, I was everything he was looking for, and I felt so lucky. But we only have one life, and he has so much work to do before he even becomes the bare minimum of what I needed. I feel failed. Like my story has a bad ending. I feel very broken and sad. I will take my time to just be me. I hope he does the same. I truly hope he finds the one and becomes happy. Mostly, I hope that for myself, but for now, I am enough by myself with a pupper. Thank you all for your time and support. I'm going to have a little cry in some fur baby's fluffy fur. /relevant comments. Commenter. This is so far from a bad ending. A bad ending would have been staying until nothing was left of you. A bad ending would have been him bleeding you dry and you being stuck. You put yourself first, and that will always be good. And to add to the positivity, this is probably the kick he needed to get past his trauma. Ops response. I think you are spot on. He has said these things himself. He didn't know how bad he was until he came home to me leaving. He has told me he hates himself for letting me walk and letting me be this miserable. He is in therapy, as far as I know, because I am no contact, and I hope he does well. I really felt, once I was out, how much of myself was lost. I went through quite a dark time realizing how far I went for this man. But I am getting better. Commenter 2. It does feel like a sad ending. I get the sadness of knowing the magical ending wasn't going to happen, the hope that he would see the light and make the changes he needed to in order to make you feel valued. But at the end of the day, it's a happy ending as well. You have a puppy who loves you, and he demonstrated through his anger that he still holds his values of stinginess higher than he holds you, so you don't have to wonder. This really feels like the ending of Inside Out, where a core memory comes in and it is a mix of joy and sadness. And sadness isn't bad. Sadness helps us remember what is important. You are important. I'm happy for you that you have been able to connect with the things that bring you joy and have surrounded yourself with them. But please stay open. I know you have joked that you are fine being single forever, and if that is the course of your life, then that's all well and good. Being single doesn't mean lonely, as you truly know why you entertain in your apartment. Guard yourself against becoming a version of your ex in the same way he became a version of his ex, not that you would abuse others, but that you would abuse yourself by closing yourself off from people to keep yourself safe. You deserve that joy and all the happiness in the world. Ops response. Thank you. I will be open to someone again, but only when it comes out of a place of wow, this person is something else, not interested in anything else. I know now I ran past several red flags just because this man could give me the life I dreamed of. Married, nice house, some kids. A life with no worries. But he was not that man. He has sent me letters upon letters about how sorry he is, taking accountability. But I can't anymore. I just don't want to try again. I hope he does well for himself. He is in therapy and doing his best. I hope he is happy one day. I just don't want to be part of it anymore. So yes, it is no Disney ending. But it is also not my ending. It is a real beginning. Commenter 3. He's now taking accountability? Last time he was angry at you for not respecting what he can do with his money. Ops response. Yep, he is very sorry about that. He doesn't know why he reacted like that. He is ashamed of it. Money suddenly doesn't matter to him anymore. These are all things in his texts, letters, and phone calls. But it has been a while since I have had contact with him. Even if he changes a lot now. My question is, why couldn't he do that then? I got sick. When I got sad and told him I was unhappy. Why can he only change when he is in pain because I left? That says it all. I really hope he finds himself and that he will be happy in the future, but I don't want to be part of it anymore. Fourth update 4 months later. I was in a financially abusive relationship. With enough time having passed, I am now more comfortable with the word abuse. I fought it for a long time because he did not scream at me, hit me, or call me names. He just used triangulation and the image of his abusive ex to use my own kindness against me and to get me to fall in line. I spent my limited savings on furniture, luxuries, and nights out for a goddamn multimillionaire just to have some comfort in life. I was constantly trying to prove I wasn't a gold digger by having zero needs, living in a cold house, and buying him everything he could ever want. I never lived a more impoverished existence than when I was with someone who actually had loads of money, more than I could possibly comprehend. When I left, I really struggled to keep going. I was so scared to face life by myself, to actually have to pinch pennies. He kept telling me what I wanted to hear for so long. He went into therapy, begged me to come back. It dug into my resolve and made me doubt whether I was making a mistake. A few things helped me keep going. My colleagues, who were more friends than coworkers, knew all my stories in detail, hugged me, and told me they were so proud of me for leaving. Their feeling was so authentic it rubbed off on me. I was also proud I left, and I couldn't let them, or myself, down by going back. My boss once passed my office when I was working late and said, "Never give men second chances. They never change. You deserve someone who gets it right from the start." I don't know what prompted him to say this to me, but it stuck with me. My trainer, who knows some of the stories, said to me, "You gave everything to get less than nothing back. It's like me getting $100 from you, and to repay you, I take another $100 from your wallet. Why would you want to take that deal again? He has a debt with you he can't repay, and I don't mean cash. I mean emotional energy, love, and kindness." I read somewhere, "Don't wake up in the same miserable place 10 years from now because you feared the change you had to make today." That hit me very hard. I have bought my own apartment. I felt like a poor little mouse surrounded by people who make my monthly wage in a few days. But the fact is, I have a very good job. I earn far above average. I'm able to have a nice place, nicely furnished. And I can even support a puppy. I live by myself but feel endlessly more warmth than I did in that relationship. I love myself way more. I am not riddled with guilt over wanting to have a cozy house or go out for dinner sometimes. I'm so happy I dragged myself out of that relationship. I kept at it and moved on. Keep going. One foot in front of the other. It is hard, but you can do this. I am proud of you. Fifth update 4 months later. The money is gone. I'm not going to get it back or fight for it. I even had to block him because, at some point, he got petty and wanted me to pay rent for the time I lived with him, so no way was I opening that discussion. Whatever. Lesson learned. I may look poor compared to millionaires, but I'm doing fine. The sister and I did get along for a while. We share a hobby and talked about that. But recently, I've been official and out in the open with my new boyfriend, and she struggles with this. Maybe she was hoping it would still work out or something, I don't know. But she has been a lot colder. This man. Wow. People say never settle because there is better out there for you. I never believed it. Honestly, I was ready to be a crazy dog lady for the rest of my life. I was enjoying being single. My friends urged me to start dating just to get the hang of it. He was my third date. I went against my will and was 100% not into it, but when I saw him in real life, sparks flew like never before. I'm in my 30s, so you'd think I'd experienced it all. But this? Wow. He is everything my ex was not. He is kind and caring. Cooks me dinner. Gets flustered but is grateful for the gifts he gets. He treats me to dinners, will not even allow me to go Dutch. He has planned and booked dates and trips months in advance, even before we were officially together. Buys me gifts. He is not as wealthy as my ex, but he makes a good living. His income is comparable to mine, but he treats me like a queen. And between me and you, and all the Redditors who dig this deep in the comments, the lovemaking is insane. I guess giving people give everywhere freely. So please, takeaway, never settle. Ever. Trust the process, babe. /relevant comments. Commenter. I hope you told him off. After the abuse you suffered, he should shut his mouth and be grateful you didn't sue him for emotional distress. Ops response. Too much energy to waste on a man who wasted so much already. I just never want to see him again. I hope he finds the help he needs, and I hope he becomes a happy person, but I do not want to be anywhere near him. I am so happy with my current boyfriend. I don't understand how I fought for so long to keep this man. Sixth update 1 year 4 months later. He is so far in my rearview mirror I really don't care. But you are spot on. Honestly, looking back, he kept getting worse and worse, and I think at some point he got off on how I was running out of money while his pile of money got bigger and bigger, giving him control over me. He sold the house. That is what I know. He and his sister fell out. Her social media profile picture is one of us. Which I think is pretty funny. He is still single. Meanwhile, I am absolutely head over heels with my partner. We both had major promotions at work. We will never be multimillionaires as we don't have generational wealth. But I live in a warm house, furnished. We go on trips, we go out on dates. Our money is pooled. I live a wealthy, loving life. While he still hoards his money, living in squalor. I never told anyone this because I was afraid to be recognized. Also afraid to be judged further because I saw their abuse and did too little. But he has kids with his ex. These kids are being abused, sleeping on broken beds, getting cheap toys, cheap trips on holiday. He never does anything fun with them. They also sleep in the cold, moldy house. I was also paying for toys for them. Trips for them. I fought so many times over those kids. I also stayed longer because of them. They were such grateful and sweet kids. It also makes me doubt some of the stories about his ex. She is a great mom, and I feel sad she has to leave her kids with that man. He was just a weekend warrior. Now that I admit this, I feel again so weird about staying so long. I recognize the abuse in the kids but not in myself. So I hope he did stay in therapy. I hope he is better for their sake. I hope they are okay. Top/relevant comments. Additional info from up. Yeah, I can't save those kids, only myself. You are right. His family knows. I told them. They now have new beds. I bought them because I was horrified. I hope they sleep tight. I had a lot of therapy to deal with the guilt of not doing enough for those kids. So maybe that's why I was ready to tell someone. I think his ex was just more successful in getting him to part with his money and live a life that isn't even that extreme if you're that wealthy. Yes, she liked designer clothes. Yes, she wanted jewelry. But honestly, I walked around in his circles, and it's pretty normal to dress very nicely. At some point, I started to feel very self-conscious about how I dressed and looked. I could not keep up. I do feel like I was laughed at, mostly because he enjoyed flaunting how badly he treated me. Like, see this very smart, beautiful woman? She stays with me and even pays for me as I give her absolutely nothing. Am I not grand? That's what it felt like, especially at the end when he started bragging about how basic the ring was. His ex, she probably was way less abusive than she was made out to be. His family probably saw some outbursts and also believed his narrative. That's why they corroborated his stories. I stupidly believed it too and let her alleged abuse be the excuse for all the crap he did to me. Honestly, I can't believe where my head was or why I even needed to make that post. He also started to neglect his personal hygiene. At the end, he smelled bad, wore clothes for way too long, saving on electricity and soap, had a tooth infection he wouldn't take care of, and left poop stains in the bed from not wiping enough. I am not kidding, at the end, it was even about toilet paper. I am beyond the point of hating that man. He means nothing to me anymore. I'm still disappointed in myself for letting myself be treated that way. But never again. Life is good now.